The problems we're experiencing in Bermuda are not unique to these 21 square miles. Inflation and the rising cost of living are not just Bermuda's challenges. They are global issues affecting nations large and small. Rapid technological change, which creates uncertainty about job security, the decline of trust in institutions and community bonds, leading to feelings of isolation, mental health struggles, and rising crime are crises echoing in communities across the globe. But here in Bermuda, we face these challenges with an additional weight: the legacy of colonialism, which entrenched wealth and comfort in the hands of a privileged few, while leaving many Bermudians struggling to make ends meet. Since returning to office, this PLP government has worked tirelessly to address these challenges, to ease the burdens of Bermuda, and to build a fairer Bermuda for all. How have we done that? The PLP raised seniors' pensions 6 times in line with the rate of inflation, ensuring our seniors can live with dignity and respect. The PLP reduced payroll taxes for 86% of workers in every local business, putting money back in the pockets of hardworking Bermudians. And we also ensure that those who made over $200,000 paid their fair share. And we introduced taxes on dividends where they did not exist before and invested in healthcare and education. The Progressive Labor Party introduced the minimum wage to ensure that all workers can earn a fair wage. The Progressive Labor Party expanded the child daycare allowance, easing the financial pressures on parents, and the result, 146 more parents have access to child care assistance. The Progressive Labor Party reduced energy taxes by 60% and froze local fuel price at the pump to shield Bermudian families from increasing energy prices. The PLP eliminated customs duty on essential goods, helping to mitigate the costs of global inflation. And the Progressive Labor Party has invested record amounts in affordable housing, with 71 units completed and 118 more on the way, giving families access to safe, stable, and secure homes. The PLP introduced the Mortgage Guarantee Program that has helped nearly 40 first-time homeowners, Bermudian families, afford their first home. This change didn't happen by accident. These changes are the result of deliberate choices, people-focused priorities of the Progressive Labor Party that is rooted in our communities. A party with a deep history, committed to uplifting the many, not the few, and dedicated to dismantling centuries of inequality to create a Bermuda where fairness isn't just spoken about, but it is felt by every family, every young Bermudian, every senior. And family, yes, we know that there is more to do. And the Progressive Labor Party remains focused on continuing to deliver the things that make a meaningful difference in your family's daily lives. Things like a seniors daycare facility to provide meals, activities, and a place to go for our seniors, while also easing the squeeze on the sandwich generation, the women and men who are raising children while caring for their aging parents. Introducing a primary care visit for everyone on HIP and specialist visits for everyone on Future Care. This will reduce copays, keeping more money in your pocket. Continued investment in affordable housing because Bermudians deserve to be comfortable and prosperous here in Bermuda. And we will continue reducing taxes on workers, local businesses, and families. We have demonstrated that we can manage the economy, and we will ensure that while we reduce the burden on Bermudians today, that we will eliminate our debt so the next generation will have a stable and secure Bermuda. These aren't just promises. They are steps towards Bermuda where fairness isn't just a word, but a lived reality. Today marks the beginning of another pivotal moment, not just for our government or the Progressive Labor Party, but for our entire island. This is a moment to reflect on how far we've come, to acknowledge the work still ahead, and where the people of Bermuda will have the opportunity to reaffirm their desire for this team standing behind me to continue building a fair Bermuda, or turning back the clock to policies that left so many behind. Earlier today, I met with Her Excellency the Governor and invited her to dissolve the legislature in advance of a general election. Oh, y'all aren't happy for that, huh? Let's be clear. We could spend the next months in 2025 playing politics, or we can put the power in your hands so that after the election, we can focus on you, your needs, and our shared work towards a fairer Bermuda for all of us. This election is not just a political exercise. It is a choice on how we face these global and local challenges together. It is not about one person or party, but about all of us. It is about a single parent trying to balance work and childcare, a young Bermudian who needs access to higher education, and seniors who deserve dignity and respect in their golden years. This election is a choice between a progressive Labor Party government that has expanded childcare assistance to support young parents, increased scholarships to support young Bermudians, and invested record amounts in affordable housing, and increased pensions 6 times, and expanded future care to help our seniors. And that does not just help our seniors, but it eases the burden on those who are assisting with their care. It's a choice between that or a One Bermuda alliance with a clear record of failure that left Bermuda worse off than when they took office, who reduced child care support, cut scholarships, and only gave our seniors 1 pension increase during their entire term on the eve of an election after telling them that money does not grow on trees. Do not forget what else happened during their last tenure in government. They neglected our public schools and instead spent tens of millions of dollars on a boat race. The OBA's poor financial decisions cost Bermuda over $200 million on a failed Morgan's Point deal and over $50 million in minimum revenue guarantees for the airport during the pandemic. That's $250 million of your money that could have gone to our schools, healthcare, infrastructure, and supporting our young people and our seniors. And remember, the One Bermuda Alliance tried to push through pathways to status, which tried to fundamentally redefine what it means to be Bermudians. Let us not forget their record. Let us not forget the pepper spraying of seniors. Things to this day that the One Bermuda Alliance has never apologized for. But you do not have to go back to their last time in office, as today's OBA is no different. Last year, they voted against freezing government health insurance premiums for all people, which would have saved every insured person $540 a year. But guess what? This team behind you passed that and made sure we froze premiums for the 3rd year in a row. The One Bermuda Alliance also voted against additional investments in affordable housing. The One Bermuda Alliance values and agenda are dangerous. They have a leader who ignores his own party constitution and candidates who say that they have, and I quote, no idea on how to address the cost of living situation, end quote. You will not hear that from this team representing the Progressive Labor Party. You will not hear that because this party has a plan, a vision, and most importantly, a track record to show that when we promise change, when we say that we're going to reduce taxes, when we say that we're going to invest in our seniors, in our communities, in our schools, we deliver it. So let's keep the faith. Let's pray together, work together, and renew together. Let us stand firm with a Progressive Labor Party that deeply believes that we need a fair Bermudians for Bermudians from all walks of life. Whether white, whether black, whether Portuguese, fairer Bermuda means for all persons, and these people behind me are working hard to deliver that for you. We represent Bermudians from all walks of life. The people here are your friends, your family, your neighbors. They are rooted in the community and share your concerns. They know that deep down, this world is changing and evolving, and that in times like these, we need stable leadership committed to building a fairer Bermuda for each and every one of us. This progressive Labor Party has steered Bermuda through uncertain times, and we are more determined and committed than ever, continuing to do so. We will continue to do what is necessary to build that fairer Bermuda that you all deserve. So tonight, I ask you to put your faith in this team that will stand as one on nomination day, January the 31st, and on election day, February the 18th. With your support, this progressive Labor Party will continue to deliver progress and real, meaningful change, ensuring that we deliver a fairer Bermuda for all. Thank you, and God bless.
Yes, good afternoon. Sorry, good evening. Just a couple of questions, Premier. You don't actually have to call an election until, what, another 8-9 months? So what's actually made you, what prompted you to make the decision to call it now?
Well, as I said in my remarks, we could spend the next 8 or 9 months going over politics, arguing back and forth, but Bermuda stands on the cusp of a pivotal time. And we think it's time for the people to have a say so that whatever budget is passed, that it represents the will of the persons as we press forward. And so from that avenue and aspect, we are ready to go to the persons, go into their homes, go into their communities, speak to our plans, speak to what we have delivered, and speak to what we intend on delivering in the future. And so for that aspect, we are ready and we're pressing forward. And just so we're clear, the One Bermuda Alliance should not be surprised because they spent an entire throne speech reply calling for an election.
But surely if you believe that Bermuda's on the cusp of in a very precarious period, wouldn't you think that if you believe that the PLB government is effective in doing its job and the OBA is competent, don't you think it would be better for the PLB to continue the government rather than risk perhaps putting government in the hands of the OBA?
Mr. Finnegan, the Progressive Labor Party is going to take our message to the people, and we are going to share. We will abide by the results of whatever the people say. However, we believe that what we have delivered, the fact that this government has made sure that we have delivered relief wherever we can, has policies to invest. The One Bermuda Alliance, you know what they say? They say, people of Bermuda, wait for relief. Don't need it now, wait. We say no, we are going to deliver relief because this team behind me understands. When we are in this room on a Wednesday, the colleagues behind me share the stories that they hear on the doorstep and talk about the things of which we need to do going forward. When you talk about the sandwich generation, when you talk about seniors daycare facility, when you talk about expanding healthcare, things that the Progressive Labor Party has committed to and that has funded investing in our communities, we are going to put those policies forward to the people of this country for their endorsement.
Now, with the election being called on February the 18th and Parliament being dissolved, how's that going to affect the legislative schedules coming up? I'm thinking particularly normally the budget's held in around that mid-February, isn't it? Are you still going to be able to keep to that sort of deadline?
So I'll put it this way, if that wasn't possible, then the governor would not have allowed the dissolution of Parliament. We are going to press forward on this particular measure. And just so we're clear, whatever budget this government produced, the OBA would have called an election budget. They've called an election budget every single year. And why? Because the budgets are in line with the needs of the people of this country. Investing, reducing tax for 86% of workers, reducing taxes for every local business, making sure to invest in education and healthcare. That is the record of this Progressive Labor Party, and we're going to continue to press forward on those points.
One final question, Tony. I've been speaking to a couple of PLB party members in the last couple of days who said that there's a bit of a split in the party. One or two people sort of jockeying for a leadership challenge, perhaps. and that they do have support from some MPs. Can you confirm that the PLP is united behind you at the moment?
So what I will tell you is that this Progressive Labour Party team is united to press forward under a vision of a fair Bermuda. They are persons who have delivered those in their communities, that they've been a part of our legislative victories, and they're going to continue to work to develop the policy for the future. That is what we're going to put forward to the persons of this country. But remember, this is not about me. This is about the people of this country and the vision and the choice of which they will face. A choice between a party that is rooted in the community, that has demonstrated the fairness and the values of which we have, versus a One Bermuda alliance that will take us back to policies that did not serve this country well and will not serve us well in the future. Thank you.
I think
You said the last question, Mr. Finnegan. I'll go to Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Premier. To note, you've talked about some of the things that the PLP government has done in the last 7 years. But on the economy, we won't know the first revenues from things like corporate income tax until August, and then we won't receive them until the following year. The opening of the Fairmont Southampton looks much more certain, but we have had provisional start dates before. What do you say to those who suggest you may be riding into this election with some big economic hopes that are yet to become a reality?
So here's what I will say, Gary. I will say that there are more Bermudians working in international business than ever before. We can see construction projects, cranes are returning to the city of Hamilton. People are employed. We're deploying record amounts of investment into affordable housing. We're continuing to press forward. We delivered a mid-year review, $25 million of additional investment in our community and infrastructure, and are going to be delivering Bermuda's first budget surplus in 21 years. We have oh yes, you can clap for that. We have demonstrated that we have the ability to manage our economy and make sure that we deliver tax cuts and reductions and return to keep a little bit of money in people's pockets. The fact is that government cannot solve all the problems. But what we have demonstrated is that we can make life a little bit more fair for Bermudians. And each and every step of the way, whether it is through the expansion of childcare, whether it's through our investments, whether it's the expansion of healthcare benefits, that is what we will continue to do.
And speaking of jobs is always a big one in an election. Now, in an interview with Labour and Economy Minister Jason Hayward, he said the economy is robust and creating jobs, but also said that the majority of job growth must come from expatriate labour because we do not have enough domestic supply of labour to fill all the jobs within our economy at this time. Essentially, we're an ageing population with more Bermudians leaving the workforce than entering the workforce. But even with that demographic situation, isn't it going to be a hard sell at election time to acknowledge that the majority of job growth is going to be guest workers?
So I don't look at it in that fashion, Gary. Again, we've had this discussion. What the government is focused on is creating jobs to ensure that Bermudians have opportunity inside of this economy. Whether it's the youth employment strategy which we've had, whether it's the massive expansion of training, apprenticeship programs for young persons in the public service, bursaries, and those type of programs that get young people into the workforce. Signature schools that are partnering with the public service, with the private sector, with tourism, to make sure that our young people can enter that workforce. And yes, we are going to invest additional money and additional funds in affordable housing to make sure that more Bermudians can return and work and play a part in this economy. Our job is to provide that foundation, and over the last few years we have continued those investments and we are seeing progress. Is everything perfect? Absolutely not. Can things get better? Absolutely. But if you look at what we've done and how we have tried to focus on making life fair and putting money back in people's pockets, that is a record that we will share and take to the people of this country.
So I did want to ask, we are more than 1,500 jobs below pre-pandemic numbers, but almost all, about 1,490 of those missing jobs are Bermudian jobs. Do you believe that the lack of Bermudians to replace retirees accounts for that entire number?
It probably does, because the fact is there are more Bermudians that are leaving the workforce. That is understood. But let's be clear, when we go with the records that shows that the unemployment rate for Bermudians is at some of the lowest levels ever. But here's the thing, we can argue about stats all day. This election is not going to be about statistics. This election is going to be a choice between the Progressive Labor Party that has demonstrated where its values lie, where its values talk about doing whatever we can to invest in our communities to build strength, and versus a One Bermuda alliance that will return to policies that were not favorable for Bermudians in this country. The massive investment of which we've made in education, in training, and scholarships will continue to deliver over the long term, and we're confident of that.
Okay. And my final question, will you be willing to engage in a live TV debate with the leaders of the other parties and independents?
We'll see what happens after January 31st on nomination day. But the fact is, we are happy to take our message. The candidates that you see behind me will engage on the doorsteps throughout this country. We will engage on the media, we'll engage on social, we will engage all the rest, because we have a vision that we'll put forward. We look forward to launching our platform after nomination day, and we look forward to making sure that the people of this country understand the choice that they face in this election. Thank you. Members of the media, I thank you very much. Oh, sorry, Trevor, my apologies. Go ahead. Sometimes you say you're alive. Go ahead.
I want to ask about the 3 years of unfavorable news around the BTA. Was this announcement today moved up because of response to this situation?
The matters that are taking place, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, have no impact on what we're doing today. And I think the people of this country should know, recognize, and understand the choice that is faced in this election. And that is what we are demonstrating and putting forward today.
You as a leader of the party, government, prefer to remove, maintain, as chairman of the BTA, if the deadline for the information required is not met.
So what I will not do is comment on matters that are not inside of the responsibility of the Premier of the country. I think that the questions have been posed to the Minister responsible for tourism, and I think he's answered those questions.
One last question. Mr. Keynes is not here tonight.
There's a few MPs that weren't able to make it, but that's not unusual for a caucus meeting. Yes. That's it. Okay, members of the media, thank you very much. People of Bermuda, thank you. Candidates, it is time to hit the doorsteps and get ready for an election. Members, let's get all the way. Let's get ready. Thank you, everyone.